Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to another installment of this Batman Black and White series where we take a look at one individual artist, this one being Klaus Janson, and we kind of dissect not only the story, but the storytelling, the art execution. At the end, we always look at one of the pinups in the back of the book, and honestly, we've only been in volume one, so this is the cover of the book that I'm going through. There's 4 volumes of this, and it's a quite big book. There's a lot that we can cover, and it's always fun to see one character handled by a lot of the greatest living comic book artists. So generally speaking, we usually go over their bio really quick. So Klaus Janson, if you don't know, is long been accepted as fact that Klaus is the premier inker in the world of comics. In the past decade, however, he has also gained considerable acclaim as a penciler and colorist as well. First gaining widespread attention on Daredevil, Janson later worked on the groundbreaking Batman The Dark Knight Returns and followed that with Batman Gothic. Janson believes he has a greater affinity for Batman than any other character and consequently has always done his best work on The Dark Knight. Astonishingly, Good Evening Midnight is Janson's very first writing for comics. So, one thing that I can add about Klaus is I know that he did 2 books for DC. One is the sort of DC Guide to Penciling, and then he also did the DC Guide to Inking. And I believe that he still kind of actively pursues like a little bit of like comic book education. I'm not 100% sure what that entails, but there's a pretty long interview with Klaus Janson and Frank Miller on YouTube that you can check out. I'll try to link it in the description box below. And I think that's where I got the idea that he still kind of actively sort of like tries to help aspiring artists. So this is Good Evening Midnight, penciled and inked by Klaus Janson and written by Klaus. My one recollection of this story, I did reread it before I actually did this video, is that his art is very, very dense. They're very full panels with a lot of detail, a lot of texture, and so anyway, so we have an establishing shot of Gotham. The bat symbol's already been thrown up in the air, y'alls. And yeah, this is Gotham. This is what we see. Then we pull in to a shot where we see Wayne Manor on the hill. Very, very dense brush and the Batmobile emerging from sort of like, you see a little bit of rocks. I'm going to grab a pointer. You can see some rocks, but it's coming down this path. Really nice Batmobile, actually. I like that a lot. Again, just very, very dense foliage, and we've got Wayne Manor on the top of the hill, and then a beautiful exterior shot of Wayne Manor, and this is actually going to be Alfred. Alfred is peering out towards the city of Gotham from their house high up on the hill, and he sees the bat symbol, and we start to get radio communication coming from a radio inside the house. I really like this wrought iron fence too. I think it's actually done really, really well. So it's a standoff. I'm not going to read all the text, but anyway, he's listening to Gotham News Network, GNN. And anyway, so we cut to an inside of the kitchen of Wayne Manor. We see Alfred entering the kitchen area. On the table, if you notice, there is a table set. We have what looks to be a beverage, maybe a small salad. There's some poultry, some veggies, and a cake. I'm just kidding about the poultry. It's probably steak. Anyway, nice kitchen. It all is good. It reads fairly clear. And we see Alfred start to clean up. He removes the plate. It's like a chicken leg. It's like a chicken leg and the thigh thing that they do. Probably potatoes and some maybe a little hominy. Bet you never thought you'd hear the word hominy in one of my videos. Anyway, so Alfred washes the dishes and puts them away. He grabs what looks to be a slice of cake. I guess it's the whole cake. Yeah, it's the whole cake. That shot almost looks like it could have been a slice. And we're getting more details about the crime going on. There's been a school bus hijacked by someone who's escaped from like Arkham Asylum, and that's crashed off of a bridge. So we've got, I think the bus driver's dead, one of the kids is dead, and Gotham is always a party, right? And it's hanging off of a bridge. Alfred knows Batman ain't going to be home for a little while, so he turns off the TV, puts away all the stuff, and starts to turn off all the lights in the house. And then it starts to go to like the darkness starts to close in on the scene, and Alfred is moving deeper into the house. He takes like a little kerosene lamp, and then there's the cat Midnight sort of trailing behind him, and I guess maybe he went upstairs. This looks like he's going downstairs only because he's at the top of some stairs, but maybe he went downstairs to grab something. But then I'm going to assume that he's in the lit room up above, although he might be in the lower room. It's hard to say. I think he went to his quarters. So anyway, so he's upstairs. The cat's like in the room with him. He starts to kind of get undressed for the night. He puts on his sort of Mr. What's the guy's name? Mr. Robinson? I can't think. The Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood dude. Apparently Alfred puts on a little sweaty when he's gonna chill. Leaves the bow tie and everything else. Oh no, he took off the bow tie. It's there, and then it's not there. Anyway, and then he goes into this little like jewelry box, and he pulls out a letter that says, "To my son, Bruce Wayne," and begins reading. And it's basically Bruce's dad writing him a love letter when he's about 3 years old, and this is a flashback at this point, and he's talking about like how he never lived until Bruce came into his life. He never learned until Bruce came into his life. He had always been focused on improving Gotham, taking the darkness and turning it light and all this stuff. And as he's talking about all these things that he is evolved away from, you see that Batman, aka his son Bruce, is sort of mimicking all of these traits in his own Batman way. The level of intensity for his work, there's words like infected me and all these kind of like, allusions to how Batman behaves. And so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Anyway, and then is this shot, you see that well, here, let's look at the storytelling really quick. So there's this is the shot of the bus up here. It's a beautiful, beautiful, kind of like very expansive shot of Commissioner Gordon and a cop, and Batman's pulling up on the scene, and they've all got the spotlights on the bus, and yeah, so anyway, then it goes back to Bruce's dad, and then he's like, I'm on the scene, and Gordon's like, they're up there, Batman. He's like, I'm Batman. I could see that they're up there, Commissioner Gordon, but I appreciate you gesturing up there. And I kid. And then the bus and the children, and he wanted better for his son Bruce, but Batman he never gets better. He's always in it. And then today we celebrate your third birthday, so you kind of find out the sort of time frame of when the letter had originally been written. You can see Alfred in the shot and kids celebrating, and I remember you taking your first steps, courageous, fearless, and again, it's all referencing sort of Batman's persona now, but just amplified, superhero level. Resourceful in the face of great odds. So Batman starts to move in to mess this guy up. So this was the only beat of storytelling that I actually found slightly difficult. It's funny how every one of these stories has that one panel. So you tell me what you think is going on here. So we've got Bruce swinging into action. The bad guy's shooting at him. Bruce, dodges the bullets and something. So we cut to Alfred. So Alfred now is sitting in the chair. Both of his hands are on the book. He is thinking of, I guess, what he's reading, like taking in the words that he did. So then we cut to this panel. I believe this is Alfred's sweater based on the sleeve, but it's like, is he lighting a flame all of a sudden? Oh, maybe the candle went out. I guess the candle out. But it's kind of weird because, oh, and then he lit the fire. Oh, okay. It's just kind of weird because, like, I don't see what. I mean, this looks like something was lit on fire, but I guess, yeah, it looks like either the fireplace went out or he realized that it was too dark and he needed the fireplace on, and then he lights it and it's more lit up. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it was a little tough to see. I mean, you never really see him grab out a lighter or any kind of object, and it looks very low, like he's lighting it like right by his ass, like this is the chair. Like if his hand was down here, it's a very weird. It's a weird spot to light something on fire, unless his hand is in the fireplace now. But then it would have been nice to have a shot of him getting up and walking towards the fireplace. So this is confusing to me, and the only reason that I'm pointing this out is I know that there's a lot of aspiring storytellers, and even if you're doing single images, you really, really do want to try to avoid any kind of beats in your story where the reader gets hung up. It's not the crime of the century, but it I remember when I first started collecting comics, it would happen, and I would just be like, "What is going on?" And anyway. So I thought I would point that out. And then we've got his dad again. As I watched you grow to be a man, when I can speak to you of such things. Oh, he's talking about like how children, enhanced his life, but Bruce is never going to have kids because he's doing all of his Batman stuff. Great shots by Klaus, all this drawing. We've got, Bruce on the bus Batman on the bus ready to take this guy out. He's got a big gun. It was funny, when I originally read the story, I didn't even notice the gun. This was such a strong area up here. It's kind of all blended in. What you have taught me, I will teach you. There will always be light, because he's referring to like disease will be conquered and all the hate will be vanquished and all the darkness in the world will be removed, and there will always be light. There will always be a light to keep us from the dark. And again, a reference to Batman. Whoa. Here we go. Your loving father, Thomas. Now Alfred puts down the letter. He's thinking. He's like, man, there's a whole cake in the fridge. I'm hungry. No, he didn't think that. I'm kidding. So he puts the letter away. Puts it back in the little box. What? No, he does go for the cake. Just kidding. He leaves it out for Batman and then goes back to bed. But look, Batman's going to come home and find a cake. And hopefully not a fire. And look, the little light. It's still on for Batman. All right, so that's the story. I thought it was really good. It was really good. Very, very dense art. That's a lot of work. But, when you do a short story, you're able to sort of run and gun and put a lot into it. And then the pinup we're going to look at today is the Barry Windsor Smith Batman pinup. I spotted it on accident looking for the Klaus Janson story. And I realized now that I haven't looked at the book except while I've been doing the videos. I thought there was only a pinup gallery in the back, but they have pieces spread throughout. This may have been one of the covers. And if you've ever seen it in color, he's got Batman wearing like red lipstick, and I think it's smeared a little bit. So I don't honestly know what he's sort of getting at with that. I mean, you could take it however you want, but they printed it, or at least I've seen it with red lipstick. Maybe he only put it in his art book that way, and it was black and white for the comic. But it's a nice, solid piece. It's interesting that he spotted no black on it. But it looks good, It's not hyper detailed, Barry Windsor Smith, but it's a solid drawing. Nice fist. Face is good. It's interesting. He did you actually see Batman's pupils. I always talk about like the identifying symbols that you can use with Batman would be, the shape of the ears, the length of the ears, the way that you handle the cowl, his gloves, his cape, different artists draw it different ways. And also his eyes. It didn't really occur to me. Generally speaking, if he's in the mask, his pupils kind of vanish, seems to be sort of this is the Bisley one. I mean, Bisley's super stylish, but you know what I mean? So anyway, but yeah, more requests. Throw them out there and we will get to them. 4 volumes. If you don't own them, just look online and see who you'd like to see next. And hopefully that was fun to watch. And thank you for tuning in. And I will talk to you all very soon. Okay, bye.